Hang on here to make sure everybody knows that, yep, the stream still be streaming. If my kids were here, they would be so embarrassed. Hello, Pamela. Oh, I got to make myself smaller. Holy cow. The giant face.
Is this live? Is this a live event?
It is a live event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to get edited down, but this is just kind of how I do everything. So make it
Right.
a lot easier. Okay. Okay, good enough. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. You still enjoying the new role? What are you doing, Pamela?
I'm trying to figure out how to hide my self view on this platform.
You don't want to see yourself?
No, I don't want to see myself. That's so distracting.
Why?
All right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's just all these different platforms. I had to get used to Microsoft Teams
Oh,
when I started
oh,
a new job.
oof, yeah,
Yeah. Um, it's okay. There are a lot of buttons and just there's like a lot going on, and people's faces are different sizes, and then that changes. And then this person's big and that person's small, and then the grid
yeah,
swaps,
yeah.
and it's just
And do you use it on a Mac?
of course I
Oh,
use it
it's
on a
the
Mac.
worst on the Mac. Like sometimes you hit the leave button or the mute button and it doesn't do anything. And it's just like, yeah,
I was trying to unmute yesterday. I had something. It was a huge meeting. It was like, looks like Pamela has a question. Pamela, what's your question? And I'm clicking unmute, and nothing is happening for
yes,
like 3
yes.
minutes.
Look at
That's
that.
okay.
Mr. Jeffers in the house.
Hey, James.
Old teammates.
Wow,
Yeah,
a while.
yeah, it is. Yeah, Macs. Pamela and I are definitely Mac folk. Uh, yeah. Oh dear Lord, and Robert Galen.
I'm also an Apple person. I just finished off my second attempt at becoming an Android person. And I think I lasted about a month and a half, which is longer than the first time. I really wanted it to work out, but at the end of the day, I don't really like technology, to be honest. Like, I just want it to work. I don't want to configure it. I don't want to have to figure it out. I don't need 18 different options
Yeah,
for messaging apps. Like, I
yeah.
just because then I was like downloading all these different, I forget what they're called, but they like changed the way that the home
Oh yeah,
screen
yeah,
works
yeah,
for
yeah.
residents, and then like this app would break because it wasn't compatible. It just was too much. Too much.
Yeah,
Needed to
it's
work on the first try.
it's a thing. Uh, okay, so you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you are number one in our new Wednesday live stream. For those of you
And
that,
in life in general, right?
yeah, 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 exactly. So Pamela, I have considered my work sister for years. We have we both have a love of desserts, and we certainly bonded over that at Dude Solutions. We both also suffer from being unstoppable fixers. Like Pamela does just as much, if not more, than I do. One of the most interesting things about Pamela, when I first met her, my mind was blown as I explained to my wife at the time. I'm like, okay, so Pamela, she's really good at her job, but she's a Jewish woman from LA that moved to North Carolina to get a computer science degree and plays hockey. Like
Yeah.
those things felt like likelihood of overlapping was really small. Then
Yeah.
you layer on top of, oh, by the way, she plays drums like in a real
Mhm.
band, and also makes cookies that are ridiculous that you would obviously pay Pamela, you know, decent money to make those for your important event. So I'm not sure what else you have on your plate. Is there anything else you're doing?
Uh, no. I mean,
No.
not really. I mean, I now have a 2-year-old, which is
Yeah.
Interesting. But no, that you pretty much summed it
Yeah.
up.
So, she has the similar work in progress limit issues that I have, that so many of you will, remind me of when I step in it, which I often do. So, all right, Pamela, I
Yeah, but you don't I feel like you kind of keep it together, right? Like when you have too much on your plate, like you wouldn't know by looking at you, right? Whereas especially in work, when I accidentally take on too much, I kind of like panic and I'm like, this is too much. And then I go to my manager and I'm like, help me prioritize this list.
yeah.
Like, which of these 10 things do you not want me doing right now? Because I can't do all. So
Well, I think your approach is healthier,
yeah.
because I definitely panic. It's just
Just
all
hide
yeah, it's
everything.
just, you can't see it. So that's something I'm trying to fix. Pamela, I have said for years, when I get a product company up and running, I'm hiring her to run product. That's when I think of product, as I mentioned, I think of Pamela. So as a computer science major, and when I met you, I think you had the title of like web developer, and then you moved into product. So what was it? Just like, hey, Pamela, we think you should be a product owner, and then you went with it, or was there any driving force from within you to want to make that move?
I don't wanna say it was, like, an accidental hire. I don't know. It was many years ago. I interviewed at Dude Solutions, as a web developer. I had graduated and done a few years of, web development, at, like, an agency, and I interviewed as a web developer. They brought me on board. Great, love it, love the company, but, most of their development work was actually done offshore. So, what I ended up doing was really writing white papers for the offshore team, writing use cases, validating work, communicating and understanding business needs. So, like, really the product things. I wasn't actually doing hands to keyboard development. So, I think it was a happy accident because that's kind of how I fell into more of product responsibilities versus development.
Yeah, one of the
And I find that the problem solving is still there. I think what I really liked about computer science was it was like a puzzle and you had to figure it out. And you also really had ownership to create things. And that's all there on the product side too. It looks different.
right, one of the more mature things that I've ever seen anyone do was when you moved into the product owner role, the opportunity for training was there to go out and get your whatever certification for a product owner, but you actually said no, and you wanted to wait and go to training after, I think it was like 9-ish months. Can you just kind of talk through the mindset that got you there and whether that was the right move?
Actually, don't remember that.
What?
I don't remember that.
Oh,
I can't believe I said no.
well,
I'm
no, because your rationale, 'cause it's like, "Holy shit, that's a really good idea," was, "I don't wanna go to a class and learn all of these things and have them thrown at me when I really don't know what I'm talking about. So I actually wanna, like, do the job for 9-ish months, and then I think there's a ton of value in me going to a conference or a class or something and then
right.
being able to learn. I think
I
that
did do
will
that.
give me a better return on my learning." And I was like, that's an amazing thought. Cause I'm like, Pamela, why aren't you going? And you kind of explained it. But then after you went to the conference, I think it was in Cleveland or something, you came back. I'm like, I'm so glad I made the choice to wait. And I thought that was a pretty amazing thought for someone that was so new in that role.
That yeah, you're right. And now I do kind of remember and I'm so 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 glad I did that because I think the way I learned to be a product owner was from the team itself. And we, of course, were fortunate enough to have like a brand new hand selected team. Most everybody had experience in Scrum Agile. So it was actually them. I have some specific names in mind, but it was them who really taught me how to be a product owner, right? They would gently correct me or they would ask me all of the questions that they knew I needed to be thinking about. And that's what really taught me because I think of course when you go to a class and you read, by the books and I think I've seen a lot of product people and product owners, you can kind of tell, right, when someone has transitioned into the role and they've gone to all the trainings and they have all their certifications, but it's that real world experience that you really need in order to be actually comfortable in the job. And when you're comfortable, that's when you make the best decisions. That's when you can kind of keep your head screwed on when chaos happens. So yeah, I'm really glad I'm really glad I did that.
Really glad you did the thing you forgot you did.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so over your career, I know you've evolved into like product manager roles, and then that taught you some lessons and kind of changed the. I think it changed the direction that you wanted to take your career. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember how many years ago it was, but you were actually talking to me and some of my peers saying, "Hey, we've had these combined POPM people, right? And now we're going to grow the team and you need to pick. Are you going to be a product owner or a product manager?" And at the time, what I don't really like to this day, I don't like that product manager is viewed as like a promotion from product
Yeah.
owner. I don't like that, but I have that mentality. So I thought, I don't think I like the responsibility on the product management side as much as I do the product owner, but I think it's a promotion, right? I'm going to get paid more, so I'll just go that route. And so I did spend a couple years doing strictly product management, having a separate product owner. Um, and I didn't like it as much. I think I it was a lot less tactical, I guess. There was a lot of just like making decisions with minimal information, right? And I think I really realized that I like to be in the weeds and working with the engineering team and solving things and producing things. And the PM side from my experience was just a little bit more
Mhm.
loose. I guess. So that was my
Yeah,
experience. Yeah.
I don't think you're wired to be happy in a position where you have to make a choice without the amount of information you would prefer. Like, I think that just stresses you out, and that's just a bad place to be.
Right. Especially product managers are making incredibly important
Mhm.
decisions, right? And there's so much
Yeah.
trust put into them, which is great. I definitely enjoyed that. I really just like to feel in control of things. So there were parts of the job that I did enjoy, but as I took a step back and observed what I was doing, what I used to be doing, what I like, what I don't like, I really do drift towards things I can get my hands in, right? I want to run user story mapping sessions. I want to make a flow diagram. I want to, get user feedback and all those things, which at some companies, product managers do
Yeah.
those things as well. So it is a very gray area, but like I said, I like to be on this
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
more.
Okay, well, we're gonna take a diversion and, not talk about business. It kind of is
Oh,
business for you for a little bit. As I opened, I talked about how you and I and desserts were a thing early in our career, where at Dude Solutions there was always donuts or cookies or something, and we would always find each other in there, grabbing yet another bite or doing the thing where we lie to ourselves and like cut a donut in half and eat that half and say we're not going to eat that other half, and then come back an hour later and we eat it. So I found something on Instagram that it looks like some sort of birthday dessert. Can you explain this? What is that?
oh my gosh. That So this was a couple years ago, I think. And I used to be super restrictive about what I was eating and very controlling, which I am on the other side of that, which is a great thing. But all I wanted for my birthday was like a French toast, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's all I wanted. I never would let myself eat PB&J. Like now I'll eat it every day. It doesn't matter. It's great. I'm very free now. However, all I wanted was like a PB&J on white bread, like the cheap white bread, not the fresh white bread. Wonder bread, I think is called. So I did that, and then I thought, well, let's spice it up. I want it to be French toast PB&J or something like that. So I soaked it in something, threw it on the frying pan, and I just back to PB&J. I really dove in and it was delicious. But it is a reminder of times when I was, less so listening to what I wanted and more so just trying to control
But
everything.
what
So
what is all of that? Like what all went into this thing?
I mean, there's
Yeah.
PB&J and the white bread, and then it's probably Cinnamon Toast Crunch on there because really there's nothing better.
Oh, that's great.
And you have to have a candle. My birthday is actually on
Oh,
Sunday,
what?
just so you know.
Okay.
Just so you know, this Sunday is my birthday, and I'm a firm believer that you have to blow out a candle on your
Yeah,
birthday.
same,
Like, I don't care what you put it in.
same.
I get the candle myself because my husband doesn't share that sentiment and he has best intentions, but sometimes like it's not the first thing on his mind to like find me a candle to put something in it. So I just take care of it myself just in case
Yeah.
he doesn't make it around to that and we're good.
Yeah, as a former husband, we struggle with that at times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
that's probably a good
I'll
one.
do it. I don't care where it came from. I just want a candle to blow it out.
Yeah, I am definitely a candle person as well. So, there's been a debate, in the last podcast episode Bob and I did, we got into peanut butter and jelly, and, uh, I know you've heard how I make peanut butter and jelly and the fact that I do it wrong because I put the jelly on the peanut butter. Okay, I got that. But what side of the crunchy versus creamy or grape versus strawberry do you live?
Well, first off, you have to put peanut butter on both pieces of bread before you put the jelly. So I don't know who's passing judgment there, but I'm grape, cheap grape, Concord, not the good, real stuff like the fake grape jelly. I enjoy and the creamy peanut butter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So this led into, well, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Something that happened, I think it was over the pandemic where Pamela just started making cookies. And was that the right timing? Yeah.
Yes. No, it was
Okay.
2018. I and it does kind of tie back to work because I think there were several years where I wasn't feeling fully satisfied with the work I was doing because I do have this creative side where I want to create and you worded it perfectly. I want to make
Mhm.
things, right? I want to make things that I can see and be done and be like, look, I made it and then be done. So because I really wasn't getting that from work at whatever time, I noticed that I picked up this side hobby of decorating cookies, like get custom cookies for birthdays and stuff. And I was kind of good at it. And I hope, like anybody else, I like to do things that I feel like I'm good at and not do things that I feel like I'm not good at. So I kept doing that and I eventually started selling them just on the side. And yeah, to this day, it maintains as a way for me to have my creative producer side, even if at the time I'm not getting that at work. Sometimes I do get it at
Yeah.
work and it's great, but I still like to make cookies.
Yeah. So here's an example of the type of cookies that she makes, right? It's
Oh
like,
God, those ones are horrible. Look at the horses.
okay, well, they look fantastic to me. This is an older picture. I'm sorry for pulling up an older picture, but this is again that example of what I've always appreciated about Pamela is she doesn't half-ass things, and even with cookies, it's exactly what she said, right? She looks at some of her old stuff, which as a developer, if you look at your old code, you hate it, and it was like the worst code that you've ever written. Pamela has that same mindset of always improving. And so that is to me what makes her really special with all of the roles that she's been a part of. And I've been lucky enough to convince her to work with me a handful of times. I keep waiting for her to like get mad at me and be like, Josh, I'm not doing this anymore. That was a disaster. So I think that day is going to come, but we haven't been there yet. Just the cookie thing, it's been impressive to watch you invest and grow that. And on social media, I see the time you put into it, and it's like, man, where does Pamela find all this time?
It's my decompression time after the child goes to sleep.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
But it does actually, I hadn't thought about this before, but it does kind of it's something I can own from start to finish, and, something I've run into at work that I think I get frustrated with is when I kind of overlap with people's jobs. When you're a product person, sometimes depending on where you are, you have people on the left and the right, and you kind of get something in the middle, right? Like when I was working with a separate product manager or a separate product owner. And then you can kind of like half bake something and then you pass it off, and like that's kind of it. So, luckily, where I'm at right now, I get to have a lot of ownership from start to finish over what I'm doing. But when that wasn't the case, I think it just shows it's a nice, I don't know, I've never thought about that connection though, but it does, it helps me see when we speak about it like this, what I enjoy and
Mhm.
what I don't enjoy, and that's important as you grow.
So is it just a control issue? Like you wanna be in control of everything?
I don't think so because I also know that I don't have the right answers most of the time, right? So I don't think it needs to be done my way or anything like that. I think it's more of just feeling accomplished and being proud of
Gotcha.
something and how I define that for
Yep.
myself.
Okay. Digging back into work a little bit, living in the product realm for as long as you have, currently, what's your biggest frustration in the worlds that you've been in as a leader in the product space?
Currently in my current world, what is my biggest
Well,
frustration?
just it doesn't have to be like the job you're in right now, but like the thing that as you look at like what's annoying about being in product, or what do I wish I could change, or what are the things I'm trying to change?
I think what has been frustrating for me in the past is that overlap in different roles. And I've spent so much time working, even if you have a good working relationship with your peers, um, especially I think more on the product management side, you can make as many Excel spreadsheet lists as you want and write names. Who does what, who, but when you put it into practice, it never works like that. It's just not, it's really hard to separate responsibilities. And I've worked with some really great people, and I don't know that that working relationship, how much influence there is on how that experience goes. I mean, certainly if you have a good working relationship, it's smoother, but I still think it can be frustrating to not really. I don't like, because I go 100%. I don't like working on something if someone else is doing it at the same
Mhm.
time, right? Like at a bigger company, that I feel like that tends to happen. So I think that would be my biggest frustration that I've
Okay.
experienced.
So let's say, and I know you're not. So Pamela's current employer, relax. This is just a hypothetical. Let's say you want to go find that role that fits you. It feels like it's more in the product owner realm. What are the tests that you're going to need that company to pass for you to say like, yes, they value product like I think they should. The culture fits. What are the things that a company should check off to be able to hire someone like you?
Oh, I was thinking you were going towards what I look for in a company, not vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same thing.
I mean, I think I've always felt like a formal interview process is really just a crapshoot.
Yeah.
And we did a ton of interviews when I worked at Dude Solutions, and I think the best way to understand somebody or to understand a company is to talk to the people that already work there. So I actually did that this time around, and I've been through what, 5 job changes, and not five, maybe 3 job changes. Anyways, each time it comes time to me to look for a different place, um, I notice I look for things a little bit differently. So first, for my first experience, I realized, okay, it's really important to understand where the business gets its money, right? Like, how is this business funded? Where is the money coming from, right? Um, and now, more recently, I'm like, okay, it's important to understand how the people interact with each other. Not like, are they courteous? Are they respectful? Like, do they like to play like Nerf gun wars? Cool. But more of like, how are the roles expected to function with each other and next to each other to achieve the goal? So, what I actually did do this, I've been at my new job for about 3 months. When I was interviewing, uh, at a couple of different companies, I would find common connections and I would reach out to the people that are in the position. I would ask if I could talk to somebody in the position and really get a better understanding of how it works on the inside versus like what the bullet points say in the job description.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah, yeah, that's a good approach. Figuring out culture is difficult because you get a lot of BS that is thrown at you. People say there's something, but in
Yeah.
reality, they aren't. So that's certainly a challenge. Okay.
But I think from the other way around, though, I think interviewing wise, figuring out what motivates somebody can be really telling. Not so much I kind of have a pet peeve when I'm interviewing with somebody else and them and I are interviewing a person and they start asking questions about like have you done this before? Have you done that before? Like, that's important, but I don't feel like it's really that important. What's important is the type of person they are, what their, expectations are going to be, how they like to interact with people, what motivates them, what makes them feel successful, right? Those are, I think, important things.
Amen. I agree completely. It's you can teach anybody a skill, but teaching them to be a great teammate is really hard. So the more you can get someone that fits that model, the more likelihood you're gonna be in a good place. Okay, so let's see. We talked about cookies. We haven't talked about your band, and that's another place where I listen. I am not a music guy. Number one, never play name that tune with Josh because you're guaranteed to lose if I'm on your team. And like, there's concerts I've been to, and I don't like live music isn't my thing, but Pamela and her band were playing in my town, beautiful Fuquay Arena, North Carolina, as everybody knows. And I went and I was so happy sitting there. I didn't pay attention to music, but Pamela was so happy. It was like she was just like a little kid with a big smile and just everything was fantastic. So again, how did you discover that that's a thing for you?
So I've always played the drums since I was like 12, but really just for fun. I think there were probably several years at a time where I didn't touch my drums, because it can be hard when you're not in a band to, I don't know. So, but I ended up finding this great group. It's been about 5 or 6 years now that we've been playing together, and I keep pinching myself because I feel like it's so rare to find a group that actually all gets along and has similar taste in music. And, we just play really fun cover songs. We don't make up our own stuff. Um, we play songs that, make you want to go like this when you're out at the bar or whatever. So it's really just been a dream come true. Like I said, I keep pinching myself, but it's just another way for me to kind of uh, get out and not get so caught up in work and not get so caught up in being a mom, because like those are just parts of me, but there's these other parts as well. So yeah,
Dang, well,
it's
good
great.
for you. For I didn't figure that out until who knows how long. Yeah, like last year, I figured out.
Yeah.
Hey, like there's things Josh should do for Josh. So yeah, working on that. All right, so I think we've covered it all. Bob would say we'd stick a fork in it, but plugs for Pamela. Let's see. Your cookie
Plugs.
company
Okay.
is
Yeah. How Good Cookies by Pamela. It's one word.
simple enough. Good Cookies by Pamela. Okay, and the band.
We're called Graham's Number, which you probably know what that is. It's the last number before infinity, but it's Graham like a graham cracker number.
Wait a minute. How can there be a last number before infinity if infinity
Don't go
like
there.
I it doesn't that
Actually, I don't understand either.
I don't I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess it's like saying yesterday and tomorrow, right? It's like a label. Tomorrow isn't tomorrow anymore. The next day is tomorrow. So I guess it's kind of like that. But yeah, gosh, no, I didn't know what that was. I heard people, and I was going to ask, say, "Oh, that's a math thing," but I didn't know what it was because
Yeah, that's the extent of my thinking about it. If I go, it's like when I think about the universe, like black holes. Whoa. Don't get me started on black holes. Like, I don't have anything to say about them. I just like
yeah,
it's too much. It's too much.
gotcha. Okay, well, Pamela, thanks for being numero uno in our spotlight, and I'd
Sure.
like to have you back at some point, in a couple of years, and get a checkup and see how. I mean, you and I will be in contact more than that. I'm not saying.
Well, what would be an interesting topic down the line is product organization versus consulting and the
Ooh,
differences, because I'm just, I'm switching right now, and it's the same, but it's very
yeah,
different from the
yeah.
mentality
Okay,
perspective. So
yeah, we can tackle
keep that
that.
in mind.
We can tackle that.
Yeah.
So for all of you that are out there watching this live, thanks for coming in, and the comments are all fantastic as usual. I am going to edit this and put it up on YouTube. I have no idea when I'm going to be able to actually make that happen, but this is an important thing to me. I've been doing these Ask Me Anythings on Wednesdays, and it's just like it hasn't been working. And I started to think about what can we do that's different? And it's something like this of highlighting people, spotlighting people that are really good at what they do, either that are already in the spotlight or deserve a little bit more. So that's what this is all about, and hopefully the discussions help everybody out a little bit, as you know, you learn from other people that are wrestling with similar things that you are, and who knows, maybe they figured something out that you haven't. So thanks again, Pamela.
Thank
I will
you.
see you.
Talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.